you'll still get an action. However, a stronger pulse field will give a stronger action. Taking the same field strength, if the problem is 6 inches into the body versus being in the skin, you can expect a stronger action in the skin than you will 6 inches into the body. So superficial injuries will heal much faster, will respond much faster than a chronic deep problem. And let's say the problem is the knee. If it's the nerves deep inside the knee that are affected, the magnetic field is going to be less effective than if the problem is a little bit of arthritis at the edge of the knee on, say, on the medial side of the knee towards the opposite knee. Then it'll work faster than if the problem is deep in it, like a torn ACL ligament. It could be causing pain, or some irritation of the synovial lining, or the lining of the knee joint. So I hope that answers your question.
Well, it does. The question, I have only one follow-up question. What the strength you think you would suggest for feet? You know, I have this arthritic situation on my feet.
For your feet?
Yeah.
It depends on what the problem is again. I think that generally speaking, when you're dealing with conditions that are maybe like fibromyalgia, when you're dealing with somebody, again, who has a very high level of sensitivity, then you need to go slow. If you're dealing with the only problem you have is basically healthy, and all you have is a little arthritis in your ankle. Let's say you broke your ankle when you were a kid, and now you got some arthritis in that ankle. Well, I would not be afraid to start at a much higher level. We have clinicians who are using these magnetic fields in orthopedic and musculoskeletal problems, such as chronic injuries or tendinitises or wear and tear kinds of impingement syndromes, where they're using TENS right off the get-go and not having any problems. But again, you got to know your patient, and you have to get feedback from the body. Let the body tell you what it needs. If you use a 10 for 8 minutes and you're not having any problems, then keep using the 10. If the 10 causes you to become irritated or irritable or increases the pain or discomfort, then you know you got to back off.
But I tried a higher setting and my feet swell up and
So that thing that he gave you, that's not the one.
I'm using a lower setting and it's better.
I don't know who's talking in the background. I can barely hear you. If your feet are swelling with a 10, then what we need to do, obviously, is to back off. Now, the other thing, of course, is that after you do the treatment, I would need to get more information on what would be the best approach to deal with this. I don't know if you've tried lower settings. If you've tried a 5 and not had swelling of your feet, then that's where you should start.
It's about, I hear that high at the moment, at least about the 3 or less that swell up.
Okay, and what I would do, if that's the case, is I would take the setting 3, and I would gradually increase the amount of time that you use instead. And I would do that for maybe a couple of weeks. So, like, I would do 24 minutes, even 32 minutes.
Oh, good. I haven't thought of it. It's a great idea.
Right, to do that first, let the body acclimate to that level of stimulation, and then you increase it to a 4. You do the same thing.
Okay, well,
right, and then you gradually increase it to a 5 until finally your body can handle that. The other thing, of course, is you may never be able to go to a 10 with your feet. That doesn't mean you can't use a 10 somewhere else. But what happens then is if you use a 10 with your feet and you swell, there's a chance that you may have torn blood vessels, you may have poor, say, venous return or venous circulation in your feet. After a QRS treatment, hello? Oh. All right, now, if you use a 10, you may need to make sure that your feet are not dependent. In other words, you're not sitting down or with your feet down after the treatment. Because one of the things that magnetic fields do is they open up the circulation in the body. And if you have poor venous return in your legs, You may get more blood flow into your feet, but your venous system can't handle the return.
Quantron resonance
And so your feet may be more likely to swell.
Well, maybe one of the reasons I have this problem, I had a quadruple bypass, and they took the blood out of my legs and put them into my heart, so my blood flow is impaired.
They use the superficial saphenous veins usually for that, but you may still have compromise of your deeper venous system. So that you may not even know of. It may be, mild, but it's mild enough, or it's strong enough, or bad enough that it's causing you to swell when you use the QRS. But what I would try to do then is to gradually escalate the amount of time first, and then gradually escalate the strength.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Here, thank you.
I have
Any other questions, please?
I have a question. Hello?
Yes?
Yes. I am 79 years old, and my health is pretty good for my age. My question is, I have been diagnosed with atrial fibrillation. I have had several episodes of that. Does this in any way affect the heart rate?
Well, again, everybody is different. It's hard to say whether it would or it wouldn't. I can't say that it would automatically do that. Again, what you're doing with the QRS is you're causing a change in the homeostasis that your body has developed around whatever problems you have. And so when you increase the energy in the system, you cause the body to have to move, to change. And when you do that, then calcium starts to move in the tissues. Fluid starts to move around in different ways. Circulation begins to go to different places. So, I would say that generally speaking, these are healthy things to have happen, but you may have to go through a period where there is some unsettling of what was previously stable for you in order for you to get the improvement. If you have irritability of the heart, and that irritability is, for example, caused by previous heart attacks.
No, it's caused mostly by emotional stress.
Well, I understand that, but emotional stress doesn't always do that in everybody, and so what sometimes happens is the emotional stress, just stress itself, causes a demand on the heart. That demand causes the nerves to have to work harder, and the muscles to work harder. And if there's any area of the heart that is not receiving enough blood supply when it has to work harder, then something like the atrial fibrillation can kick up. So sometimes it's a direct effect on the nerves. You just get, the nerves just get older, they wear out, and they start to be irritated. But often it's just because there's something in the muscle, there's something in the circulation that's causing the heart to be irritated.
QuantronResonanceSystems.com.
So that's okay, but what I'm saying is that you probably go to higher fields. You just have to gradually increase it. The other challenge for anybody working with these fields is that, sometimes a change happens, and you don't know whether the magnetic field did it or it just happened. It's happenstance. It's just coincidence that it happened at that time. And that's one of the reasons we've set up all these different, very structured approaches, the scientific method we call it, to investigate whether it's a real phenomenon or whether it was a coincidence that just happened to occur at the same time. The only way for an individual to know is through something we call a crossover study for themselves. The ideal crossover study is that you have a chronic stable problem and you start and stop the treatment 3 times each. So you treat, stop once, treat, stop once, treat, and stop again. And if you do that 3 times, and every time when you do it with the active treatment, you have a problem, then you can be more certain that the device itself or the treatment is actually causing that problem, and that's not just circumstance, not just chance alone. So I would for you, I would definitely continue. I wouldn't have a problem with it. The other benefit that you get, are you on Coumadin?
No, I just take aspirin.
Okay. this is an important issue. People with atrial fibrillation often are put on Coumadin, and when they are on Coumadin for atrial fibrillation, they are usually on high doses. They're on the highest doses that we normally give people for Coumadin.
Well, apparently mine has not been that bad. I've only had a few episodes, so it's not that it's a chronic thing with me.
Well, that's good. For other people in the background, just to explain for you, if you had to go on Coumadin, we are very, very careful with using magnetic fields with people on Coumadin. Because what the magnetic fields do is they